Right, hello there, everyone. Welcome back to James Redmond TV. Welcome back to a preview. I don't usually do previews on the channel, but I thought I'd start doing previews because I feel like it's good to assess the opposition you're going to be coming up against and also giving a little cheeky score prediction, yeah? In the names of Paul Heyman, it's not a prediction, it's a spoiler, my friend. So in this video, or in these previews going forward, I intend to not only go into Liverpool's lineup predictions, so I've got a specific website which I'll be doing that on, and we can go through the lineup together and you can physically see what I'm doing while doing my lineup and how I'm thinking it through. We're also going to do an opposition preview. So I've got a couple of things to where, if you don't know much about Bournemouth going into the 2022-23 season, well, now I'm going to hopefully give you a little bit more insight. As the season's just began, we don't really have a style of play on how Bournemouth are going to play. Therefore, let's analyse the business, the ins, the outs, and the likelihood of how they're going to play. And I think that'll be a good assessment. So we've got a few sources to help us out with these things. But before we get into anything, you smash a like as always, yeah, because James Mondinho's been uploading every day. I feel boss. But the first thing that we need to get into or need to analyse, because this actually helps me with my lineup prediction, it's about knowing what is going on with Wataru Endo, my G, the man from Japan, the super dude. Neil Jones confirmed Liverpool hoping to complete the signing of Endo today. Jurgen Klopp will be holding his press conference at 1:30 p.m. UK time ahead of tomorrow's Bournemouth game. So today, Jurgen Klopp will have a press conference at 1:30, which probably means that I maybe should have waited for this preview after that, but that's the update of Endo. And the reason why is because when I'm going through my lineup, believe me, I'd love to put the Japanese Iniesta in midfield, but as he's technically not fully announced as a Liverpool player in the games tomorrow, I don't think that'd be all too sensible. So what I want to do as well is just share the lineup predictor screen that I've got right here, and we can go through the lineup together on who we think is going to start. So again, Endo could get announced today later on, and then that changes the dynamics. Maybe he's right in for the game against Bournemouth, but this is going to be taken into consideration as if we don't have Endo and that we've got no CDM still. So, yeah, let's get into it. I feel like we've got to go with friggin' Adrian. Come on. Let me get the proper lineup. The proper format out. Yeah, this is the part of the lineup that you can just kind of whiz through. You know what I mean? So we go with Alisson in goal, left back. I think it's a no-brainer. It's Andrew Robertson from Scotland. I am excited to see Conor Bradley, and weirdly enough, if there was like an injury to Trent or something, I think this is to be a good game to see, you know, what is Conor Bradley's level. I think Bournemouth would be a good opportunity, but of course we go with Trent, no diddy-dallying about. Centre-backs, Kanate, Big Ibu, and then at the left centre-back, I'm going to obviously go with Virgil van Dijk. Now, where it gets interesting is these midfield three slots, right? Because, again, no CDM, so who plays in that holding role? In the last game, it was McAllister. Some people will probably mention Curtis Jones because throughout pre-season, Curtis Jones was given those opportunities. I could see Curtis Jones get given a game today. I also know Thiago has came back recently from injury, but the real question is Jurgen Klopp, does he rush him and will he bring him right back into the team? That's something that I'm a little bit unsure of. So I will probably go with the prediction of, do you know what? I think just but because I don't think Gakpo's going to play again in terms of a left centre mid or a sort of offensive number 10, you know what I mean? So I am a little bit in two minds. I know Stefan Bajcetic is still injured, so for those screaming in the comments, Bajcetic, I suppose you could put Trent and maybe play Conor Bradley right back, but we're not doing what I do. I'm predicting what Jurgen Klopp's going to do. So do you know what? I would not be surprised to see Curtis Jones have a little go this game. Depending on the availability of Thiago, if Thiago's considered 100% fit, and we'll find out in the press conference, then maybe he'll go with Thiago. But for now, I'll go with the risk of playing Curtis Jones. Left centre mid, I want to see McAllister. And then right centre mid, I want to see Szoboszlai. Great team, lad. Great team so far. I mean, obviously, this is a question to be desired as always, our number 6. If we had Endo, maybe he's going to play that role. But for now, I think I'll edge Curtis. I doubt we'll go with the exact same midfield that we went for Chelsea, but you never know. Maybe Gakpo's favoured as a number 10 for now. Anyway, let's have a look at that front three, shall we? So I feel like we'll start off with the most obvious one, which is Mohamed Salah. He's going to play as a right winger. I think Diaz had a great pre-season and also has had a very promising first game against Chelsea, getting his goal. So It's about starting off where you mean to continue. You get what I'm saying, chat? So would you go with Diaz at left wing, or do you think there's more room for Jota, maybe Gakpo, to have a go in that position? Know what I'm saying? I'm liking the look of the team so far. I'm probably questioning whether or not I should really persist with Curtis Jones as CDM. But again, this is what Jurgen Klopp does, and the club has not accommodated him with a CDM yet. So I'm going to stick with it. Up front, Jota had a really poor game against Chelsea. I'm sure we can all agree with this. In fact, I thought he was maybe one of the more quieter players on the pitch. And then when he was on the ball, he was diabolically shit. Right? Can we all agree? So now the question for me is, do you go with Jota based off form? Because if you're going to include pre-season, the man's been scoring. Or do you go with Nunes? Or do you go with Gakpo? Because I think this would be a good game for Nunes. And obviously, Salah and Nunes have been developing quite a good partnership over pre-season. But then Gakpo could maybe draw out more goals for the likes of Salah and Diaz. I'm going to predict Gakpo to start up front. I think he's going to play as a number 9. I think it's just because Klopp still favours him in this position. And I don't think Jota will be considered as a left winger for this game, nor do I think that Nunes will be considered for the left winger for this game. So that's why I'm going to say Diaz is going to keep his place. Salah undoubtedly keeps his place. And then Gakpo is going to start up front as that sort of false 9 position. So that's my final team, chat. I've gone with Alisson in goal, Robertson, Van Dijk, Konate, Trent as the back 4. Midfield 3 of Curtis Jones in the 6, but again, that can change with more information. McAllister and Sobo, and then the front 3 is Diaz, Salah, and Gakpo as well. Let me know your lineup predictions in the comments down below. And is that a good enough lineup to beat up the almighty Bournemouth? Speaking of the almighty Bournemouth, I do want to give you a bit of insight based on their transfer window and then their probable lineup. I suppose we'll start off with their probable lineup. This is only according to Who's Goal. If you don't believe in Who's Goal, then there's not much I can do for you to help you because, this is the source in which I'm using. I need to get an ad blocker. I know that these ads must be really frustrating for people watching the streams and whatnot, so I will get that sorted in terms of an ad blocker. But hopefully you can see the screen. Enough. So this is not the lineup that they played in their previous game. For those who don't know, Bournemouth drew 1-1 on the opening day of the season against West Ham, which, to be fair, not a bad result at fucking all. So I don't know if this is the lineup that they went with in that game, but as you can see, a few new signings in which they've made, and then a few names in which we're familiar with already. So Brooks is somebody who I am definitely familiar with as a player. Not someone who I'm sitting there thinking, oh, he's absolutely world class. But listen, he could maybe do a job and he could be direct when it comes to coming up against our defence. And you need to understand going into this game, Bournemouth's strength is creating chances, creating opportunities for the big man up front. Man like Dominic Solanke. A blast from the past right there, chat. Man like Dominic Solanke. Probably could score against us. Feel like that's destined to happen one day, you know what I'm saying? But the front 4 is very promising with Christie, Brooks, Anthony, Solanke. And I also like the fullbacks of Bournemouth. I think the fullbacks is what implement and include a bit more creativity. You've got Max Aarons from Norwich City, who's experienced, Premier League experience, Championship experience, just very familiar with the English game and also good going forward. One that maybe some Liverpool fans maybe thought, well, why don't we get him as a backup right back? But it seems with Conor Bradley that we're going to give him an opportunity, which I'm happy with. So I'm okay with not getting Aarons. But I think for Bournemouth, it's a fantastic acquisition. And then, of course, at left back, I don't know if you can see that properly because it is obviously very, very zoomed out. Maybe that would have been better from the start. But we've got Kerkez. Now, Kerkez joined from AZ Alkmaar. He's, I believe, a Hungarian left back. So him and Soboslai are going to be very familiar with each other. Actually, I've just noticed as well, who scored have gone with the same predicted 11 as me, the little scumbags. But yeah, Kerkez and Aarons, I think they're going to be top quality fullbacks. I think Kerkez would have been great for us. In fact, I don't know if you could have seen that, but yeah, Kerkez is there. So yeah, that's their probable lineup. Is that one that you guys feared? And is that one that you think, okay, maybe it can cause us problems? Because I think the only worry here is if our defensive solutions are not solved going into this game, or if we're not more compact defensively, and you consider that Bournemouth's strength is going forward and creating chances, and Solanke seems to be getting a little bit more into his own, I think that now concludes we can be a little bit worried about the attack because Bournemouth only need to score 1 or 2 like the way Chelsea did. And then, boom, they've got a point away from Anfield, which would be a fantastic, fantastic result for them. So the last thing you want is them scoring first, and the last thing you want is for us to feel so under pressure to where it feels like we can't get or salvage any 3 points out of that game. Now, again, Bournemouth have been doing a lot of business. In terms of volume of signings, they've been doing more business than what we have. As you can see here, some great business throughout the summer. The question really is how many of these players start in comparison to the probable lineup, which I showed you guys before. They signed Hamed Junior Traore from Sassuolo for 25 million euros. Alex Scott. I'm a big fan of Alex Scott. I think he was one of EFL's most promising players last season. And I'm not going to sit here and make out like I'm an avid Championship watcher by any means, or Bristol City's my second team, but Alex Scott, solid player, man. I'd actually really considered him at Liverpool. Nice on the ball, reads the game well. Only 23 million euros. I think that'll be a productive signing, all in due course. Milos Kerkez, he's the Hungarian left back from AZ Alkmaar, so he will be very familiar with Szoboszlai, of course. But he's a top-class left-back, very high promise, and I thought this was maybe the most impressive addition from a Bournemouth standpoint throughout the whole entire summer, just because 17 million euros for one of the best young prospects in that position in Europe. I think that's a great piece of business, and the recruitment team, at least on paper, have done something that Bournemouth fans can look forward to. You get what I'm saying? I think a lot of these are very productive signings. There's obviously a name there that I think is interesting as well. Roman Favere. Can't say I'm overly familiar with him, but he's from France, and he has a little bit of Algerian, which means he might have that little bit of sprinkled flair. Because you're onto Aouar, who used to play for Lyon. He's a techie player, so I might just be comparing him to him because he's got the Algerian French link. But Justin Kluivert also just signed from Roma for 11 million euros. Jeez, the prodigy of the great Kluivert. So yeah, this is what I'm going to say. Kluivert has not done too much in recent times to suggest he's a great player, but to say that he can't come on off the bench if he's not to start and do a job against us and be an option for Bournemouth, I think that'd be ludicrous. So one thing we've got to accept as well, Liverpool fans, is that Bournemouth have got some nice depth. Max Aarons is also a latest addition, and then that concludes pretty much their ins. They've also brought in Radu, who seems to be a decent goalkeeper. It's a loan transfer from Inter Milan, so fair play. And then all these guys are just people who have came back from loan deals or stuff like that, so don't be too concerned with them. These are the players in which they've let go. As you can see, not too much when it comes to actually letting players go. I mean, apparently this Favere's gone out on loan to Lorient. Who knows? Yeah, so in terms of actual business done on an outs perspective, I can't really say much about all these players. These players are, they seem like sound players, you know what I mean? But they haven't lost anybody too significant at the starting 11. So, yeah, chat, I feel like that's the preview in its entirety. I'd be very intrigued to know what you thought about the preview and the way that I broke it down, giving a little bit of opposition's analysis, also going into the window in terms of who they bought, but also giving my perspective on how we're going to do. But you've got to conclude any preview with a prediction, correct? I'm going to say a 2-1 win for Liverpool. No, I'll say, do you know what? I'll say 3-1. I don't dispute us conceding. I actually might predict we concede first. But Bournemouth are a team that's there to be got at. I don't think that they're overly impressive defensively. I think where we need to worry is the offensive aspect. So do let me know in the comments down below what your score prediction is. I'm saying 3-1, and I actually think Salah's going to get at least one of them this time. Come on, Mohamed Salah. But until the video later, probably a press conference reaction. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. We'll find out more on the Thiago and other midfielder stuff. Hopefully Endo gets confirmed. But until then, guys, smash a like, subscribe to James Redmond TV, and I'll see you all in a bizzle. Bye.